Escaping Murano with glassmaking knowledge meant certain death. Venetian glassmakers held secrets worth more than gold. The Republic of Venice in the 1300s enforced a brutal monopoly. This was not just about money, it was about power. One decree in 1291 moved all glass furnaces to Murano Island. This tiny island, just 1 mile north of Venice, became a guarded fortress of craft. The official reason was fire safety in Venice itself. Wooden buildings were too flammable for the intense heat of glass furnaces, but the real reason was control. Keeping the artisans isolated meant keeping their techniques hidden. Imagine living on Murano as a master glassmaker. You were highly respected, you had special privileges, your daughters could marry into noble families. This was unheard of for mere craftsmen in other parts of Europe. You were exempt from prosecution by the Venetian state, and only Murano courts could judge you. But these perks came with a heavy price. You could not leave Murano without permission, you could not share your knowledge, you could not travel to foreign lands to practice your trade. The punishment for attempting to leave was swift and severe. The Venetian government wanted to protect its lucrative trade. Glass was a luxury item across Europe and beyond. Venetian glassmakers produced mirrors 5 times clearer than any other. They made delicate goblets and colorful beads. These were highly sought-after goods. The techniques for creating cristallo, a remarkably clear glass, were guarded fiercely. The methods for crafting aventurine glass, with its glittering copper flecks, were also top secrets. Venice maintained this dominant position for nearly 300 years. In the late 1500s, a master craftsman named Antonio Neri attempted to flee. He was caught and imprisoned. Others who made it out were often hunted down. Venetian agents sometimes poisoned runaways. They sometimes arranged for their assassination. The message was clear: betray Venice and you die. The Republic had a vast network of spies and informants. These spies were everywhere. They operated in every major European court. They reported any attempts by other nations to poach Venetian glassmakers. They also reported on any Murano artisans thinking of leaving. The furnaces on Murano operated day and night. The heat was incredible, working conditions were tough, glassmakers spent years as apprentices, they learned complex processes. A typical glass factory employed dozens of workers, from the maestro or master down to the youngest apprentice. They learned specific skills: blowing glass, engraving, gilding, enameling. Each stage required specific and unique methods. Many of these methods were passed down orally, from father to son. From master to apprentice, no written manuals existed. This made the secrets even harder to steal. By the 1600s, other European countries were desperate to replicate Venetian glass. King Louis XIV of France made several attempts. He offered huge sums of money. He offered noble titles. He offered freedom from Venetian justice. Some Murano glassmakers did manage to escape. They tried to set up factories in France or England, but Venice would retaliate quickly. They would ban all trade with the offending country. They would send agents to sabotage the new factories. They would pressure families back on Murano. They used threats and intimidation. For example, in 1665, the French managed to lure 16 Murano glassmakers to France. They established the Royal Mirror Manufactory. This directly challenged Venice's monopoly on mirrors. Venice sent agents. They tried to persuade the glassmakers to return. They offered pardons. They offered rewards. When this failed, they resorted to more extreme measures. Several of the French glass factories suffered mysterious fires. Equipment broke down without explanation. Some glassmakers even fell ill. The techniques involved specific types of sand. They involved particular mineral additives. They involved precise firing temperatures. These were all critical to the final product. The pure silica sand from the Ticino River was key. The use of manganese dioxide helped decolorize the glass. It removed impurities. This created the incredibly clear cristallo glass. The furnaces themselves were also specialized. They were designed to maintain specific temperatures for long periods. They burned wood that had been carefully selected and dried. These small details were monumental. They made all the difference. The Murano glassmakers formed powerful guilds. These guilds further reinforced the secrecy. Guild members took oaths. They swore not to reveal their trade secrets. Breaking these oaths had severe social consequences within the tight-knit community. You would become an outcast. Your family might suffer. It was a complete system of control, rewards for loyalty, punishments for betrayal. It was an ironclad grip. The Venetian Republic knew that its wealth and prestige rested heavily on these glassmaking secrets. Protecting them was a matter of state security. Even in the 1800s, after centuries of this practice, the legacy endured. While the strictness eventually waned, the reputation of Murano glass never did. The island is still famous today. It still produces beautiful glass. The original system, though, was ruthless. It was effective, it kept an entire industry a closely guarded secret for generations. It showed the lengths a powerful republic would go to protect its economic advantage. This was more than just business. It was survival, it was Venice's identity, and for centuries, you paid for that knowledge with your life.